This is episode 108 of the Wilderness Locals podcast. On this episode, we have the guy that signs the checks around here, and he also happens to be the man behind Kafaru International, Aron Snyder. This podcast is brought to you by Kafaru International. Our friends at Kafaru are all settled into Wyoming now and back operating at more than full speed. They have faster lead times than they've ever had before and the same great gear. Kafaru.net. There are a few groups in North America that put boots to the ground, like the Wild Sheep Society of BC. Contrary to popular belief, Wild Sheep Society BC isn't just about sheep. The majority of their projects benefit a variety of ungulates and other wildlife. Check them out at www.wildsheepsociety.com. Great folks over there. I'm a Monarch member. You should be too. And as always, go check out our friends over at Just Shooting Arrows. Just Shooting Arrows is BC's premier archery shop.
It's cold down here right now. Not that that's mutually exclusive to Canada, but it's cold in Wyoming. It's not too bad. It was, I don't know, baby, what was it, single digits today? I don't know, it was like 11 or 13 or something like that, but cold. Yeah. Fahrenheit.
That's colder than it is for me. It's, let me look. It's 9 degrees right now and it's 8 p.m.
Yeah, pretty close. Same thing. It was negative.
No, Celsius
gotcha.
Though, bro. I'm like way above freezing.
It was negative 35 not too long ago, but I was down in Arizona right after that. So I was pretty happy about being down there a little bit warmer.
That's like right in fuck this, I'm moving range for me. Oh, so what's going on? You're just cleaning up dog shit?
Oh, no, I wasn't. My dogs were running around like crazy, but they're all good and they're all inside now. And we just watched a movie. My wife's getting ready to shower and we're going to go to bed after this podcast. So, yeah.
Nice. I'm always doing them too late, eh?
This one is late for me. I'm usually in bed by now, but
Tyler's a night owl.
I'm not a night owl. I'm an hour behind you guys, and I have 4 kids. So you've been running it ragged, eh? You got all kinds of shit going on there.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on between the, Kafaru and the clothing company and then the, podcast and all the normal stuff and the seminars and everything starting up pretty quick here. So, and then obviously hunting. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I don't think we've had you on since Kafaru moved.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, we moved a few months ago. Everything's gone a little bit. It was a little bit hectic, obviously, at first with the move, and then now everything's going really well. As far as getting all the software and inventory, shipping, all that stuff in order. So, Anders handled the majority of that. He crushed it. He's doing really well. And other than like end of the year inventory and holidays, like he's shipping within like 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours, getting stuff out the door, which is super cool. He's doing good with that. So
that's wild. And that's like everything that's frames and packs
yeah, pretty
too?
much everything, obviously within reason if we have it in stock. And then, we're moving all the production back in-house. So we had a extra building where we were going to do something different, like kind of use it as like what we're going to call a trading post. But we actually turned that into a sewing facility, and we're going to building another building as well to get all of the sewing back in-house. We with the size of the building in Colorado, we had to outsource some of the sewing, not overseas, but, very compliant or whatever, American-made manufacturers. But we're bringing all that back in-house. So that's been, hectic, but exciting as well, as far as getting that, hiring like local sewers and everything else has been cool. So.
Yeah. So you're doing it for like more quality control on your end, or
no,
what's your thinking?
I mean, the quality controls, actually, the people that sew our stuff are really well, in fact, I'm hoping we can at least equal to what they do. No, it's just nice to have it in house, like, quicker reaction time. As far as that goes, like
Nice.
if we want to do limited runs, if we want to, new packs or whatever, obviously, and it's right there so we can see, with our own eyes, like, okay, we're at this amount. We need, 20, let's say, whatever, say 125 packs of this color and, whatever. We can shift pretty dynamically when it's in house, where you are at the, and we deal with good companies, but at the mercy where they may, we can say, we want to sew 100 in house and they may want to sew 300 because it's better for overall production. Business, right? Like super simplifies things on our end.
Yeah. That's wicked, man. We've sure watched big changes at Kafaru in the past, whatever it is, 4 years since you took the helm, eh?
Yeah, it's grown a lot. In 2011, 12 timeframe is kind of when I started with them. And Patrick, obviously the guy we bought the company from, is a genius, and he, worked obviously with him.
Yeah.
And then, it's grown by, since 2000, in 10 years, it's grown by 1,300%. I guess,
Wild.
Thinking about it. So, quite a bit, good, bad, or indifferent, obviously along the way. Like, we haven't made everyone happy, but we've tried, but, kind of staying with the American made, obviously, ideals as well as, we do try to treat our, customers like family and everything else, and try to stay true to that. So, yeah, it's been hectic, right? I didn't have a lot of experience running, a manufacturing business made in America. So it's been interesting and good and stressful, but.
Yeah, I hear you, man. It's just like, it was really cool to watch the whole thing. And then when Kafaru changed hands and you guys became the owners there, it was cool to watch you spool it up and kind of, put a young, fresh team in place to really put the pedal to the metal, It was wicked.
Yeah, my business partner was really all for obviously expanding, which hence the move to Wyoming, bigger building, and it obviously it slowed some things down, just because the move took a few months. We weren't able to come out with new packs in that time. Obviously that's changing soon, but for the bigger picture, a lot better overall. So, and my business partner was all for that.
Yeah, it's been rad, man. And it's so nice to hear you guys say that it landed well and stuff's going well and packs are shipping fast and lots of sales coming and everything's rocking. That's wicked.
Yeah, we're excited. It's been good. I've got a good crew around me, a solid team, and that's a big part of it because, with everything I've got going on, above and beyond Kafaru, I probably, whatever, stab myself in the elbow with a cell phone without their help. So.
Yeah, no, you definitely have a wicked crew. Mackenzie takes good care of us, so
yeah,
that's great.
She's good. We kind of, as the move went on, kind of figure out what pieces and parts went where and what fit best. And, which was good, right? Anders did a really good job taking a big part of like just, taking over the company really. And, on the manufacturing side and, Kinsey on the, overall marketing, operations side. So it's been good.
Yeah, no kidding. It's, growing exponentially. It's great to see. How are you liking Wyoming?
I wish we would have moved here a long time ago. From the hunting and the, general lifestyle, photography, everything like, obviously my wife's a rock star. She pretty much built our house from the ground up as far as that goes. And, house is amazing. I've got a 3D course, targets, archery, whatever at my house, gym in the garage. Which is cool. The town's amazing, really good people. And then, we have like, I don't know, like if you guys seen some like the photos of the sheep that I posted up or some of the mule deer, that's not far from my house. I'm not dealing with hundreds of different hikers and backpackers and photographers. I mean, it's very low key. And it's just, my hometown, where I'm from originally is only 200 people. And that's what I'm used to. Like, that's what I want. That's what I like, kind of off the grid, very low key. And we're a lot closer to that here than we were obviously in Denver. So I wish we would have moved a long time ago, but we're here now. So
I went to Denver 15 years ago. I was like, this place is too busy. I'm from fucking Vancouver.
Well, it's a lot worse now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't handle it. Well, a lot of dudes with man buns and stuff running around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt.
So what's going on with Born Primitive? Because we haven't even touched on it on our podcast.
Yeah, without going into great detail, I do military training with some different military and with that, when I was doing some of the training, I met some super cool dudes that had introduced me to some other super cool dudes that had asked me about, helping out designing some outdoor clothing, like high end, mountaineering type clothing. I was like, yeah, great. Let's take a look at it. We kind of started that partnership quite some time ago. And they had already had a clothing company already in CrossFit and workout space. They did, Frankie, the actual designer at the company, and I kind of ran it to ground as far as, what we ended up coming out with, as well as what we're going to come out with. I'm trying not to oversimplify this, but it was one of those things where they're like, look, just design the best pants, fleece, puffies, whatever, that you can come out with. And he and I just literally from ground level, hey, this is what I really like using. This is what I didn't like, what I liked about using. These are different fleeces that I liked, and kind of morphed everything together to try to come out with, what we thought, or feel is the best, pant, top, whatever. And we've got rain gear coming and other things as well. So it's been good. The people I partnered with are really good dudes, really patriotic, really, about, coming out with the best product possible, didn't really skimp on any of the fabrics or anything like that, which was good, because some of the fabrics I picked out, or Frankie and I picked out, were a little bit more expensive than others. So yeah, it's been good. And it's a lot easier, on my end. It's super chill as far as, cause I kind of run Born Primitive outdoors to have people that are like-minded. Anytime you go into a business partnership or anything like that, it's pretty hard to do if you've done one and been burnt, or partnered with somebody that's crooked or whatever. The next go round, you're a little nervous. Mm-hmm. And the next go round after that, you're even more nervous. Where the people at Born Primitive, basically Bear Handlin, who owns it, and Tony, who's the vice president, really good people to deal with. Didn't cut any corners. It's been awesome. So we've got a lot more up, coming up, and it's been growing faster than I thought it would. So yeah, it's been exciting.
That's awesome. Is there any, what's your favorite thing that you've made at Born Primitive then?
Probably the Frontier pant would be number one. And the Quiver fleece would be, it's like a grid fleece, hooded grid fleece would be number two. Probably the third thing isn't out yet, which is the rain gear. I've been a big proponent of event material, which is a type of breathable rain gear, like a 3-layer laminate. And that was something I really suggested heavily to them, and they were all for it. So there's cool. Very few rain gears on the market using event. It's been around for a long time. And so the rain gear coming out is made of event, a 3-layer laminate, extremely high breathability, extremely high waterproof rating, and a decent price point, very good fit. So, when you're the one at the helm, helping pick and choose, what you want, I'm kind of getting everything that I had ever hoped for out of every product we come out with, which is pretty, hard to do. I'm very blessed and lucky to be in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. That's wicked. I think a lot of people when you started doing Born Primitive and there was a puffy, we're like, wait a minute, there's already a Kafaru puffy. There's two Kafaru puppies. What's going on here?
Oh Lord, yeah, like they're totally different. Even like my business partner was asking, not in a negative way, but I'm like, look, man, like the Born Primitive is a great pup. We have two puppies at Born Primitive. It's a lightweight and a heavier weight. They're not as durable as a Kafaru puffy. They're not as warm as a Kafaru puffy. They're totally different designs. And so when people ask me, I'm like, look, it's different, right? Born Primitive lightweight puffy is literally about as far to the end of the spectrum different than a Lost Spark Parka from us. So, is one better than another or whatever? I get that question a lot. And it's like, look, the Lost Spark from Kafaru is more durable, warmer, more water resistant. The Parka or the puffy from, Born Primitive is going to look better. It's lighter weight. It has more of a, go into town type of a look. You're not looking like you're getting ready to kick down doors or whatever with the Born Primitive side of things. So, they're quite a bit different. Obviously, there's a lot of pie in the sky, so there's room for everyone, but they're definitely a totally different design. So.
Nice. I saw that you guys just came out with a new jacket to, what is it? Wind River.
Yeah, we did. That thing sold out in like, I don't know. Obviously we underestimated that. I think we made like 300 or 400 to see how it would sell. Yeah, we fucked that up, or I did. I didn't think it would sell out in less than 24 hours. I think it sold out in 12.
Wow.
It's a wind jacket, right? But it's for anybody that's used a wind jacket before, it has a very specific purpose. It fits in your cargo pocket, your front pocket or whatever, but it's something to put on while you're on a stalk to obviously block the wind. If you're going out running, things like that. It's fairly water resistant, not quite waterproof, but if you're, like recently, for example, in Arizona, we were dealing with a lot of rain. I'm going on a stalk, I get jammed up and all I have is a fleece and weather comes in. It fits in a fanny pack, your cargo pocket. You can throw it on, blocks the wind, blocks a lot of rain. And I'm really a big fan of those. I've used them for years. I just didn't know how the consumer would react. Like, would they want that? Well, I fucked up. Yeah, we sold out like in 12 hours. So I should have made more. So we've got more coming.
There you go. Yeah, I the way the product line has expanded in the last, couple of years, it's been really cool to see you guys kind of slotting into some niches and stuff that I think are pretty untapped, I just emailed Mackenzie the other day. I was like, hey, I'm going on a float trip. I want to get one of those steel headers and like that hydro. Yeah, I can't remember what you guys call the bat. Yeah. I was like, that'll be deadly on a float trip for hopping in and out of a boat all day, right? Like, so cool. I don't know. Is anybody else even making that? I don't really think so.
Other fly fishing chest rigs, not quite like that. I mean, we design off of we design off of, whether it's me, and I don't design everything, not by a stretch. Bender designs a lot, but it's we design off of obviously like use, right? Like, so like that wind jacket or the steel head or the hydro harness. The hydro harness wasn't something I really worried about attaching to the steelhead. I wanted to be able to attach it to my bino harness. And, what I needed was when we hop out of a Can-Am or a truck or whatever, and we go on a stalk, whether it be for antelope or mule deer or whatever, especially guiding, that I had, a quart or two of water, some basic stuff in there. So I wasn't like totally screwed when I'm doing these long stalks or whatever. Even a first aid kit, like I have a fairly lightweight first aid kit in there, and the hydro harness, even like, those stupid, like you get them at hunting camp, right? The 16 ounce, whatever water bottles that, you buy in cases, that throw one of those in there. So I'm at least got some kind of a water. That's, we base kind of everything off of that, to where, we don't do it off of necessarily a fad, but more of like, hey man, I've had this happen the last 3 years and I'm getting fucked up, pinned down for 3-4 hours. Let's make something that can attach to a bino harness or whatever. Then obviously we run it to ground. The Wind River jacket's the same way. I can stuff that in the hydro harness with water. And if I get pinned down, I can throw that thing lightweight, well under a pound, and not totally get, freeze them to death and, soak them wet. So.
Yeah. Okay. So you've said the, like the name that shall not be spoken about 400 times now. And I bet you more dudes have asked me if I know about one coming, than any other question about Kifaru. And it's bino harness. Everybody's like, when's there going to be a Kifaru bino? I'm like, dude, Aaron wouldn't tell me.
No, I mean, I'll be upfront. Like, I went a long time not designing one because I didn't want to screw over people in the industry that I knew designing bino harnesses. As it turns out, they totally don't mind copying us. There's a lot of different bino harness companies that have a lot of things that look a lot like Kifaru. No harm, no foul. I'm not mad, but that kind of, okay, I'm waiting on, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to, hurt their business. It was very clear they didn't mind trying to hurt mine. And so at that
now
point,
cleared hot.
Yeah, cleared hot. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, not mad, not vindictive or whatever. It's like, hey, we're going to come out with a harness. And so, Bender and I, had worked on one off and on for a few years. And so he's got one in the making. We're going to do it in-house, right? So we're waiting for the sewing line to get kind of finalized. But yeah, we will have one coming out fairly soon.
It seems
that's exciting.
It seems like a lot of companies just don't mind ripping off Kifaru anyway. Like, what was that bag that company came out with here? I don't remember the name of the company, but it looked just like a door gunner, I think, or a 22 mag. I can't remember, but
it was a saddle company. Well, we don't need to say the name, but Aaron will know who we're talking about.
Yeah, it starts with a T and ends with an ether.
There you go.
That one of the guys that works there had used quite a bit of our stuff, and more power to him, right? Whatever capitalism, whatever you want to call it. Ethical, not ethical, whatever, right? I'm not going to get.
I think of another word that starts with a C that would describe them.
Yeah. Shit. So, they came out with that. It is pretty close to pretty much, carbon copy with some changes of a shape charge. And
shape charge.
Well, it is what it is, right? Like, you can't stop that. And not something we're going to get too, Twitter pated about or whatever. Like, it is what it is. So, but yeah, I mean, when that happens, right, you kind of look at it and say, okay, well, we just need to make something better. We may need to make something, cooler, more useful, evolve a little bit, and bringing that sewing in-house for the, majority of it makes us really quick to adapt. So when you have a company, whatever company it is, that's outsourcing all of their sewing, and we do some of it, right? You have to go through the tech pack side of things. You send in what you want. They make some samples. They send it back. You approve them. You send in a PO. It takes a few months. They send stuff back. When you have it made in-house, I can just walk down to the production line and be like, hey, can you guys get this going next week? Yes. And then within 2 weeks from that, I've got 200, packs ready to go. So that's what we're working on right now, whether that be colors, limited runs of colors, new packs, whatever, trying to get where we have about 50 sewers in-house full time. So
yeah,
that'd be wicked. Yeah. And the shape charge has to be one of your best selling packs for a while, right? Like,
for day packs,
such a good size.
Yeah. For day packs, everyday carry, traveling, whatever. It definitely is one of the good ones. There's a few that are overlooked that, like, I use a Urban Ruck because I run a MacBook, computer and, photography, editing. And so there's other, for everyday carry and travel, there's other packs that are probably better than the shape charge, but for, everyday carry and hunting, it's pretty hard to beat the shape charge.
You know what I think's overlooked for hunting, I don't think anybody's clued into, is that Rogan fanny pack.
I
used the fuck out of that thing for bear hunting last spring, and it was wicked. Because you don't need much, right? Bottle of water and maybe a sandwich, away you go.
Keep your fucking weed in there.
Yeah, no shit, right? It's screwball. Like whitetail hunting, spot and stalk, mule deer, whatever. Like, that thing, like, I keep, and I've done videos on it or whatever. Like, I have a very bright, I have a headlamp in there, but I also have a very bright flashlight, like super bright, like, Yeah, more of a tactical, tactical flashlight. And then I have a fixed blade knife, odds and ends inside there, backup release, pretty simple stuff. And then you can fit a fairly decent sized water bottle in that and, protein bar, sandwich, whatever. And I have one for hunting, but I have one in my truck all the time. And people are like, you were a fanny pack? And I'm like, no, not around town. But I tell you what, if shit goes down, I grab that thing. Like, it's in the front seat. I've got everything I need. A little bit different than what I have for hunting, but it's not going to be, it's something like, hey, let's say there's an accident, right? I'm going to grab that and throw it on my, around my waist and jump out and go assess a situation. I've got a InReach in there. I've got more medical super glue tourniquet in my truck one. So they are very handy for that.
Man, mine has way less cool shit in it. Mine has like diapers, wipes, chapstick.
Well, I mean, that's relative, right? That's probably cool, cool for other,
no, it's not
kids.
Cool. No, way less cool. You're like, yeah, I keep mine ready for when shit goes down. Stay strapped or get clapped. I'm like, if a kid shits himself, I got you, bro.
That's important too.
Got you oh fuck. The great piece of gear though. I actually love mine. Use it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what have you guys been up to?
Fucking, not much, just freezing to death pretty much.
Well, we haven't talked in a while. We killed our season was pretty wicked. We killed goats together on our first hunt, which was cool. Wasey killed a booner, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, that is awesome.
And then Wasey killed a pile of stuff.
Yeah,
and I was mostly fucking sick to death and fishing. So
changing diapers.
Pretty much, man. But no, it was really good. Yeah, stuff's been good. Everything's been cool up here. It's had a really fun season for sure.
Yeah. Minus our government trying to take our guns and shit. We're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been keeping up with that, but I'd make fun of you, but I can't because we're in the same boat down here. Which I don't even want to get into that. I'll get depressed, but it's interesting.
Yeah. What's going? So I seem to recall, I don't know, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago when you were like, what you should probably do, Ty? I was like, no, what? You should probably sell that fucking compound of yours and just commit.
Well, where's your stick?
Where's your stick, bro?
I don't know. It's not in my hand. I can tell you that. Dude, it's weird. Whatever. Obviously, people ask me questions about it all the time, but
I don't actually care.
Oh no, I don't give a shit. I'm good. The way my brain works, I got to be excited. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like it's got to be fun for me. And I got in a wreck. Whatever in last fall, and it totaled my truck. And I had to get a rental, left my recurves with Scotty just because bringing a rental up, I left everything down there. And I always do, not always, but for the most part, do a compound bow review at the end of every year. And I started shooting a compound to do this review. And I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun shooting this thing. And I didn't really have like a big urge to pick up a stick bow. And so I'm like, well, I'm just going to hunt with a compound. So I hunted with a compound pretty much. I'm trying to think last November, so over a year ago was probably the last time I shot 2 whitetail bucks, actually, I think in one day, down in the Oklahoma-Texas border, and got in a car wreck shortly after that. And not that I had anything to do with it physically, but circumstances, traveling, rental cars, all that bullshit. Picked up a compound and haven't really picked up the stick bow since. I think I've shot Barnwells twice, just to make sure I could still do it. And I went and shot the ASA kind of classic, kind of world championship, national championship, whatever they call that in Alabama. I've done a ton of different videos, tech tip stuff, whatever with the compound. Obviously, a lot of people didn't know I had shot a compound that kind of joined in later. They showed me shoot a stick bow, but like from the beginning of time until 2016, that's all I ever shot was a compound. So it was kind of new to some people. So
I don't think you lose the compound though. Like when you're shooting the stick, I don't like, did you find there was like
now you get
a period
better.
where you, right?
Yeah, you get better. I think like, I think that guys are worried about shooting both. And I'm like, look, you shoot better. If you shoot a stick in a compound, you shoot a stick quite a bit. When you pick up the compound, you're actually more accurate. You hold steadier, so on and so forth. So
that's wicked. So what are you shooting right now? What's the hot bow?
I'm shooting an Elite Verdict, which is actually more of kind of a tournament bow, a little bit longer axle to axle, even though that's, kind of what, for me, like that's what I like is that longer ATA, but
like a 34?
No, 37, like long.
God damn.
I like, now keep in mind, I'm old. 37 back in the day was not short, right? I'm in the late 90s, 2000s, like 37 was the average length. So I like a longer bow. I shot a PSC Omen. I shot an XF33 from PSC. I shot an Omnia from Elite. They had a new carbon era. I just like a longer bow. And so that Verdict, even though it's, I don't know, for some people like kissing your sister, right? They're not used to a guy shooting a longer bow, man, it's money for me. So,
well, whatever works for you. Right. I mean, I think the best shooting bow for me ever, I think was like a Conquest 40, like a 40-inch ATA bow. Thing was ridiculous, but shot super well for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's obviously what each person's, comfortable with. So.
Yeah, that's cool. So that's what you're shooting this year then, eh?
Yeah. The Verdict. Yep.
That's cool. And where are you at on sites? Are you still the spot hog guy?
No, yeah, I've used all kinds of stuff. Honestly, that new one from Option Archery, which I hate to even say it, the Canyon Pounder is what they call it.
I'm sorry, the what?
Yeah, I know. Don't ask me. That
can't say that in front of your mom.
Yeah, that's what they called me in high school, right?
Hey,
that site's probably gonna, kind of take over, I think, for a lot of people. But really big fan of Spot Hog. I like HHA, the site from them I'd used. And then obviously I've used an Option site quite a bit. And that Canyon Pounder that just came out, I think that's going to probably be the site I use for quite some time.
Have you messed with that site? What's it called? Dialed?
Yeah, not a big fan of the Dialed site. Nothing wrong with it, but it, some of the, like there was a drag adjustment that seemed kind of, not maybe as usable as you would think. And some of the technology was a lot like their adjustment left and right was a lot like the HHA. I also don't like how the housing kind of comes on a radius up and down, changes the diameter of the radius or the housing. I'm not against the Dialed site, but it's definitely, I had one. I'm not against it, but I would definitely prefer other sites over it.
Much rather be pounding the Canyon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hear ya. What are you shooting for an arrow?
I'm shooting an Axis 300.
Old Faithful.
Yeah, I did a podcast with arrow review with components, and
yeah.
I just, the 204 system's pretty hard to beat, whether that be with an Axis or some other 204, arrow. But I'm not a big fan of micros. Not that I dislike the micro arrow components for a micro diameter shaft are kind of a problem unless you like a total glue in. So yeah, the Axis is what I've got now. I've got some new ones that I was trying, Sonic 6.0s, which is a standard, RPS insert 246 type of an insert that I might shoot for target. But
what's that the insert outsert deal that the Axis comes with? You don't use that, do you?
No, I don't use a half out much. It's not. I just, they have some titanium half outs for the 4mm, the smaller diameter. That the titanium ones, if you're going to use a half out, are probably the best. But I just anything with a half ounce, I kind of steer clear of. That hit insert recess inside the shaft has a lot better concentricity or run out when you put a broadhead on it. So, yeah, the 5 millimeter or the 204, I prefer that system over the 4 millimeter, the micro.
Mm-hmm. Are we still iron will components per Vita?
It's going to be hard to beat iron will components. Whether that be with a 204 or, whatever, people ask me all the time because I shoot a mechanical now, and it's like, well, I'm not shooting a stick bow anymore. Like
I just fell out of my chair.
I know. Right. I just, with a mechanical and a compound, I like big entry holes. That's the biggest thing. Right. So it's weird because I'm not against fixed blade broadheads at all. Obviously I like fixed blades.
No. Yeah.
I also like very large blood trails. And so with my setup that I have now, I'd much prefer a 2-inch hole. If I had the choice. So
are you still in the Sever gang then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
I really like Sever.
I haven't been keeping up. on Aron's archery quest, as you can tell. So I'm getting the straight from the horse's mouth.
It's I get to read about myself all the time on forums and stuff. And it's hard for people to wrap their head around the fact that I'm very, very much pro use the fucking thing and speak intelligently about it. And when I say that, meaning like whether that be a Sever, a Schwacker, an Iron Will, or Rocky Mountain, whatever, that people be like, oh, this company's paying him, and I'm like, what, a 2-month contract? Like, I try to use this to speak intelligently about things, and not saying I don't get paid from companies, I do, but I try to use things for a few months to be able to speak intelligently about how good it performs, what it does, and then I'll use something else. Nothing wrong with anything I used previously. And, it's hard for people to wrap their head around that. But, when you go, and I get it, right? Most people move from one thing to another because of money. That's not the case for me. I use from one thing to another just to test it out because I like, goofing around with gear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Wasey have deduced that this podcast won't ever get proper sponsors other than Uncle Aron because we say too much dumb shit.
It happens. I say dumb shit all the time. The thing is, like with whether like dumb shit or whatever else, it's very hard to look and find. You'll find guys that say, things like, oh, I'm not sponsored. I'm not this. I'm not that. I hate the industry. And then they, tag 14 companies when they post something. It's like, if you really hated social media that much, it's not that hard to just turn the fucker off, right? You just say delete account. So like guys that say unsponsorable and then tag a bunch of companies. Yeah, they're probably full of shit, right? They're, I've never been paid. Yeah, you're fucking lying, right? Like that's not true.
Hashtag unsponsored and then holding a bow that you got paid to shoot.
Yeah, just shit like that. And I mean, it is what it is, right? Like I've kind of come, the conclusion, especially in the last month, right? Like, and I've talked to some guys about this or whatever, like, hey, you know what? My conscience is clear. I know what I do. I know who I help. I know that, I have, good lifelong friends. I know companies I believe in. I know companies I don't. And that, not to focus on the negativity on the side of things that like, hey, you know what, if I talk about something like, let's pick something that has to do with anything we're talking about now. Anchor solar charger, right? Or not a solar charger, an Anchor battery pack.
I really thought you were going to go for fleshlight, to be honest.
A fleshlight, yeah. So that too. I could very easily speak about some of the more, pushed or pronounced, like unknown battery packs in the outdoor community, but like Anchor is the best bang for the buck. Hopefully, whoever makes that isn't anti-hunting, as I understand that they don't give a shit. But you can go buy a $39 Anchor battery pack. That's 20,000 MHZ for, again, $39 and half or 1/3 of the cost of something that's promoted by other people. and I'm losing money I could go with the flow and probably get paid by, companies that are pushing those things. But, I've been poor the majority of my life. And when I say poor, like paycheck to paycheck, the majority of my life. So if I can say, hey, look, dude, spend $39 on this thing, fuck that $89 one. Right. I like that I can do that and not have to worry about anything. There's other people that pretend, I'm not that guy. So,
yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be able to be transparent with people about what you're doing and why you're doing it. Right. And you always have been that way, I think.
I've tried. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect by any stretch. And I've talked about things that, I thought really highly of for a while. And then later on was like, oh, fuck, delete that podcast. Yeah, this thing turned out to be a piece of shit a year later. But, for the most part, I try to speak, intelligently and highly about good things and don't speak about other ones. But, no one's, perfect with that. But, I've tried. And, when you look at gear I use and things I talk about, some of the primaries haven't changed in a long time. And if they change this a little bit. So I'm not getting paid by MSR to talk about the reactor, right? That's a stove I really like. I wish MSR would pay me because I know damn good and well I've sold a fuckload of them, but that's just a good stove. Shelters. We sell shelters, and I talk about Hilleberg a lot. Hilleberg doesn't pay me. They give me a discount on shelters, but they just make a damn good shelter. They're expensive, but they're good. Just things like that. It's like, well, look, nothing wrong with other shelters. MSR makes good stuff. Nemo makes good stuff, but I can swear off on the fact, if you're above tree line and, the world's ending, you probably want to be in a Hilleberg, as far as the tent goes. So,
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. What's that stove that you ran this year, Wasey?
Soto.
What do you think of that?
Soto makes a good stove. So one of my primary is an MSR reactor. When the world ends, a Soto Windmaster is for lightweight, probably as good a stove as on the market. I use the Soto Windmaster and then some Evernew titanium, pots. And I've used that for 6 years now, probably that Windmaster, 5 years. And it's pretty damn, I don't know if that's what Wasey was using, but that Windmaster is pretty fucking hard to beat. And it weighs about as much as a fart, right? It's light as shit. So
it was 6 or 8 ounces for the pot and the burner. It was fucking retarded light, really light.
Yeah. Super lightweight. Now it's not as durable as a reactor, but it's also a fraction of the weight. And I ran this to ground. I posted weights of this. I can run 2 Evernew titanium cups or bowls, right? So I can run one for my coffee, one for my food, and a Soto Windmaster. And that fucker is still lighter than a reactor. So it is lightweight.
Yeah.
I think I'm running, some MSR fold up jobby. It's like a Whisper Light or something like that. It's just tiny, but it's okay.
I don't know. The only reason I went with Soto was because I looked at the weight and I was like, how can this even be possible? And that's why I bought that stove last year.
Oh yeah. It's light. It's super lightweight. And, are you using a multi-fuel?
Sorry, no. I'm using Pocket Rocket, not a Whisper Light. I have a Whisper Light, but that's not what I was thinking of.
Yeah,
I'm using a Pocket Rocket too.
A Pocket Rocket's the same parallel as a Windmaster. So, and that's a good stove too, and super cheap. Very good,
so
cost
cheap.
effective.
Well, I won't feel bad when Wasey steps on it in camp.
Exactly.
Inevitably, right? So Wasey's on this ultimate quest to be lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
But refuses to run around the block.
It happens.
So he's like, you son of a bitch. Have you fucked with these Kawa spotters from Japan?
Yeah, Kawa makes a good spotter. I don't really mess with the small lightweight spotters, and that's not Kawa. That's anything. I carry a bigger spotting scope, but Kawa.
You hear that, Wasey?
I know. Aaron has said before he does not pack anything smaller than a 65. I've heard him say that in the past.
Yeah, and honestly,
be a man.
I haven't carried anything smaller than an 85, and I have a Leica 82. That's as small as I go. But Kawa.
I need to insert like a sound effect of a bunch of dudes like, oh,
what did you
right
did
then.
you see Avery posted that new fucking Swaro? I don't know what the objective is on that. It's got to be like 55. Go ahead.
Yeah, that Swarovski is amazing, spotter. The thing with Kawa is as far as trying to compete with a Leica or a Swaro. Kawa is the closest thing you're going to get. In some people's eyes, as good, arguably, even in my eyes, are very close. Less money, a great optic. They make a lot of different options. They're really big in birding, and they're good. I mean, Kawa's awesome. They make good shit. I haven't used those as much as other ones, but yeah, they're good.
So I bought the 55. The
little baby dick one.
So I got that. It's like 1 pound, fucking 8 ounces or some fucking thing. And it's like, I had a hard time finding that little guy. I ended up having to order it from like Eastern Canada just to get it, but it is retarded light. And I'm kind of with Aaron on the fence about the objective because it is a 55. And I'm like, man, I don't know, but I've been using it a little bit, just fucking around, and I like it so far, but you can tell it's not an 85 for sure, but.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're picking out, like, there's got to be more context to some of this when people ask me, because it's like, look, if for me, when I go into the high country, I'm more of an 85, 95 instead of 10s or 12s type of guy. When I'm in a place where it's not quite as far, I'm going to have probably some 15s as well as my chest binoculars and a spotter. When I'm really not going in far, I'm going to have a 115 probably with me, and 15s and 10s or 12s. But the reality is, like, for most people, right? Like when I say most people, like, if you're going to carry 10s or 12s on your chest and you're going to have a spotter, like, you're going to want a 65 to 85 spotter if you're looking for the best all around option. If you're looking for the best all-around option, that's the lightest weight. That is not a fucking 85, right? It's not. I mean, you're going to need to go to a 65. The thing for me is, if I'm going to carry that much shit into the backcountry, it's not going to be a 55 because I just want more out of it. It's not that a 55 is bad. I just want more personally. I want more objective, like field of view, and I want a little more power. Both the Kawa and that new Swaro are pretty badass. It's just not my thing.
That fucking new Swaro that Avery had on his Instagram was like, I think that thing's like $3,000, isn't it? Or how much? I'm pretty sure.
I didn't look. It's a fucking Swaro, right? Yeah, I have no doubt. Yes, I'm sure it's expensive.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, to buy the fucking logo of a Swaro is like $1,000. They're expensive, right? I mean, they make good shit, but they are expensive. I don't know what I got my 115 on a discount with the objective, and at a discount it was fucking $4,000 some. So, it's I'm in a place right now where I can afford, optics like that. But like back in the day, and I do podcasts, we just did one about this, talking rewind 15 years. For fuck's sake, I barely could afford to go hunting, right? Like, literally the last thing in my mind was, I can't wait to spend $5,300 fucking dollars on a spotting scope when my truck was worth $7. So yeah, it's a matter of perspective, right?
Yeah.
I was cracking up about that on our goat hunt this year. We were getting out of the truck somewhere, and I was like, I should probably lock it, eh? There's like, there's 2 Swaro spotters, there's a couple custom rifles, there's all of our gear. Yeah, we're gonna have to lock this. There's my child's university tuition sitting in the truck.
The price of your bag and everything in that fucker is a lot nowadays.
Oh shit. Yeah. I mean, and I honestly, like, getting into photography and everything else. Well, I've always been into photography, but getting into more wildlife, I just dropped on a camera lens more than I paid on a vehicle until 2015. Right. So we're talking from 1997 to 2015. What I paid for a truck, the highest dollar truck I ever had till 2015, my camera lens is worth more than that. It's weird for me, but like, I'm into photography. I'm trying, as time goes on, I, transition out of hunting more into photography. So it's worth it. But it's also in the same hand weird for me, from a guy that was raised in a fucking mobile home that didn't have running water for the first 5 years of my life, to say, I just dropped 12 grand on a camera lens. I feel weird, but I've worked hard and I'm really into photography. My wife was cool with it. And obviously I it's something I'm really passionate about, something I want to make a living at. At the same hand, it's also like, fuck my life. I just spent 12 grand on a camera lens. I feel awkward. So
enjoy. I just say enjoy it, man. You worked hard, so you might as well enjoy that stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying. So.
So what's on the immediate horizon here for you? What do you got going on? We're coming into spring.
Oh, I'm supposed to go into Mexico is the plan with Reiner O'Tier here pretty quick. And then when I come back from that, I got to go to the Western Hunt Expo if I can make it. I got some clients guiding wise for Audad mid and late February. I don't know as far as spring bear hunts, what's going to pop up with that. I've got a opportunity with a guy you really like, Wacy, to go up in the end of May. They called me yesterday about that. And then, probably the most exciting, trip I have planned has nothing to do with hunting. I've never been on a vacation in my life. And, my wife and I are planning a vacation to go up through the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, and then head up to take a ferry through, the islands up to Alaska, go to Kodiak and photograph brown bear and, whales, whatever breaching, obviously, whatever they do, the pods. Do some of that, do a little bit of fishing, things like that. That's probably the most exciting trip I have, and it has nothing to do with hunting. At some point in time, I definitely want to take her through, the Alaskan highway, all the way up, into the NWT, area. I've taken that road before twice. It's a long fucking road, but, go see the Lancasters, obviously, swing, go to the west side and go through Stewart. And I'm missing the other name. What the hell is the name of the town? West Coast, BC with
Smithers.
Smithers. Yeah. Thank you. Smithers. Go over to Smithers and, take her through there. She hasn't got to see a lot of that, northwest portion of the United States, as well as the, coast side of BC. So
what did we pay for 5 minutes of Wi-Fi, Tyler? Like $20 or something?
Yeah. Like way up north, we're switching spots and we needed Wi-Fi. It was like $20 for 5 minutes. It was rad.
$20 for 5 minutes to Wi-Fi. You need to go hold up Elon Musk and get Starlink. Jesus Christ, that's insane.
Yeah, right.
We got a bunch of questions, Snyder. Do you want to fucking rattle through them or what?
Yeah, lay it on me. And then I'm going to bed. So yeah.
Let's do it.
So Mike Jones.
Hang on. You gotta edit out the ones that'll start an internet fight.
Yeah, I'm not reading some of these. Fucking.
Okay, good. Because I was reading them and I'm like, no, don't just go for it.
So they want Mike Jones here, guy in BC. He wants to know what your off-season archery training program looks like to keep your technique sharp.
Man, nothing too crazy. I blind bail. So I shoot, 3, 4, 5 feet. Try to shoot 10, 20, 30 arrows a day blind bailing. And then, I shoot flat ground out of my garage out long distance. And then, I try to shoot a few times a week, at steep angles and, awkward different positions, things like that, but nothing too crazy. Just, fundamentals, nothing wild.
Yeah. Pretty much just keep your muscles in check, right? That's all I ever do. I don't go crazy. I just, even like you said, blind bail in the basement's all you need to do. Kind of just keep everything.
Yeah, you don't have to do too crazy stuff too much. You just have to focus on, like you said, fundamentals and, go from there.
So McKinnon Shoots wants to know any new products coming down the pipe that you're able to share.
Yeah, but nothing I'm able to share.
You just gave one away, though.
Yeah, a Bino Hornets is coming, but nothing I can go into great detail with.
I figured something's coming. I don't know what, but it's going to be wicked, I think. So I got Rust Rocket. He wants to know re-releasing a mega tarp or something between a sawtooth and a super tarp.
Yeah. So one of the things we have coming, with which I can't give an exact date, and it's not 100% made in America. It's close, but it's not 100%. Is Cuban fiber. We have some Cuban fiber shelters coming that we've been working on, and when people look at the mega tarp, they look at it because of weight and some of its size. So we have like a 10 by 10 tarp that comes in under a pound. We have, if it comes through, which it should, a sawtooth made of Cuban fiber, which drops the weight by almost 40%. So you're looking at, rather than a 5 and change pound, sawtooth, it's going to be in the 3 pound range for a sawtooth. So we do have shelters. We don't have any actual design of a new shelter that is a mega tarp coming out, but we have lighter weight versions of what we already have. And then later on down the line, there will be, new shelters coming, different sizes.
Yeah, wicked. This guy named Blisters, he wants to know if Kafar is ever going to come out with a freestanding tent. So, I mean, he'd like something like a fucking MSR.
Yeah, I don't. If we do, it's not going to be probably all made in the U.S. We've looked into that actually off and on, quite a bit in the last 10 years. Really, Patrick and I looked at it. It's not something that we're opposed to doing, but it's going to have to be a give and take in the sense of it may be our design, it may be partially, American-made components, but we have not found a route that we can do that totally U.S. made. So. It's not something that, it's not something we're opposed to, and it's something we've looked at, but it's not something, it's not been possible to do 100% in the US. So is it feasible? Yes. Is it something that I can say, oh yeah, we're going to do it? No, I can't say we're going to do it. And I certainly don't know when.
This is a question that we kind of answered the other day, but I want to get your take on it. So this guy, he wants to know how you clean your glass at home and how you keep it clean in the field. What do you do differently with them?
Nah, I don't do a whole lot differently. I mean, honestly, you can just put it under a sink and wipe the shit down. I think people worry about their optics probably a little more than they need to. And I get that their optics are expensive. When I'm at home, I just throw it under the sink. I've got a really soft kind of brush that I wash everything off with. I take a lens cloth, wipe it off with that. When I'm in the field, I have a hurricane blower for my canter gear. So I blow off all the big debris. And then I have a wet cloth I wipe down the lenses with, and I follow it up with a dry, or I have spray that I'll use, but nothing too crazy. I mean, technically, if you have good optics, you can put it straight under the sink and just piss water all over it with soap, wash everything off. I mean, you don't want to put soap on the lenses, right? But I mean, you can take a scrub brush and wash it down with that. And then, for me on the lenses, just standard kind of optic spray, spray it off, wipe it down, spray it off again, wipe it down again with a dry, and you should be good to go.
I think that advice will turn a vortex into a fish tank, though, eh? Mini aquarium.
You'll know how good your optics are. If you put it under a sink and they fog up, you'll know that it's something you probably want to move on to a different optic company.
I was out hunting with a guy one time. This is last year. We were elk hunting. I had 2 years. I had a pair of Vortex, and I was looking at something through them, and I just threw them out the truck window and drove away. And Buddy's like, "Fuck, are you gonna leave those there?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Can I have them?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I backed the truck up. I'm like, "Crap, I'm done with this shit. Fucking garbage."
Yeah, I mean,
so
I don't want to dive in. I mean, like I there's some really good mid-range optics out there, right? There is, and there's a difference between mid-range and high end, and anybody who says that there's not is not telling the truth. And there's just with some of the more mid-range type optics, there's when you look at all of them, there's a durability factor, right? There's a waterproof factor. So like SIG, Zulu 9 makes a really good mid-range optic. Maven makes a really good mid-range optic. You have a Zeiss Conquest is good. I can't remember the Leica. Mi Opta makes a good one. Kawa. But, you know, there's other ones that, you know, you're probably going to run into some durability issues. Yeah. And, you know, the thing is no matter how good the warranty is, if the fucker breaks when you're on the mountain, doesn't really matter, because then you're up shit creek. So something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. 100% agree.
I'm curious, how many internet fighting messages do you guys get?
We had some we didn't ask specifically about Frank and stuff and what's going on there.
Frank, no, that's all good, man. You know, I think people put, you know, I love Frank to death. I wish him the best. I wish he would have moved, but you know, the bottom line is, you know, Frank chose to stay in Colorado. You know, and it's weird for people to understand this, but like Frank's job was to take, you know, he was going to take over my position long-term. His job was not a remote job, right? It just wasn't a job that he could do remotely when you're supposed to, you know, I needed him to be me, but I wish Frank the best. I hope that dude succeeds in everything he does. You know, if I ever can help him, I will, but I wish he would have moved, right? I miss Frank. He was a cool dude. He was like fucking family to me, and it sucks he didn't move. And, you know, that's kind of, you know, on my end, like, I don't know, obviously Frank's probably pissed at me, but you know, it sucks on a daily basis. Like I wish Frank was here, and he's not. He stayed in Colorado. That was his choice. I wish he wouldn't have, but he did. And we had a great office for him up here. I wish he would have, you know, there's great hunting up here, but he wanted to stay in Denver, you know, for whatever reason. Fuck, I don't know, right? He likes traffic, but he did choose to do that. There's nothing I can do about that. So,
yeah. No, yeah. And I think that people looking, you got to look at it too, you know, even Frank, how tight you and Frank are, or there's still a business that's got to carry on and run. Like it's got to, everything has to keep moving forward. Right. So.
Yeah, I think that, you know, and a lot of people, not everybody's a business owner. Like you cannot pay someone for the fuck of it, right? Especially when you're like, we're on a tight budget, man. It was expensive to move, and companies move all the time, right? And when they move, there's like, hey, do you want to move? No. Okay, well, you're out of a job, right? And so in the specific case of Frank, that in when I say Frank, meaning like literally Frank was the kind of guy that I was planning on him taking over for me so I could get the fuck out of this. You can't really do that remotely, right? Like, you know, I can't schedule like, hey, on a Tuesday and Friday at 3, I need you up here so we can do videos to promote this pack. It wouldn't work. And as shitty as it is, right? It broke my heart. But you know, also I have a business to run. I have people to take care of, and you know, I can't favor someone over another. I mean, the dude did great things for us. He worked hard, but you know, people need to look at it like, fuck, how the fuck is a guy going to take over for me when he lives in Denver, a state away, right? He's got to live. He's got to be with us, and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
I find just internet drama in general just gets blown out of proportion because of all the people that don't know what's going on or that are actually involved in the drama, and they have to chime in. So I normally heed the advice my dad once gave me, which was shut the fuck up and mind your own business. So that's what I do.
Yeah. You know, I did several podcasts over the last few weeks just because of my schedule in and out, trying to knock them out. And, you know, the one thing, and I talked to a really good buddy of mine, and the dude's a fucking stud, you know, and he, you know, very patriotic, did amazing things for our country. No. God damn it. But very good guy, and a good guy, you know, somebody that I could bounce, you know, when I'm like struggling mentally, have questions or whatever. And, you know, the reality is, and Rogan would say the same thing when he talks about don't read comments and things like that, is like, look, you know, you guys, Tyler, Wasey, you know where you're at in life, meaning, you know, who you've wronged, who you've righted, where you're at in life, you know, whether people are talking shit about you or not. When you go to bed at night, you know where you're at in life, and you know where you stand. And with all the internet drama, like you can get consumed in that really fast, whether it's just talking about the world, the state of affairs in the world, right? You could slit your wrist from that. And within 3 hours, if you read how fucked up the world is, right? You know, all the different people in the outdoor industry, people are talking about, whether it be me or the Bomars or Levi or Cam Haynes or Rogan, or you pick it, right? People are constantly picking apart, talking shit. But as an individual, if you go to bed and your conscience is clear, you know what you've done, you know who you've helped, who you didn't help or whatever, you should sleep easy. And you don't know anybody else a goddamn thing. And if someone makes the big deal of it to your face, you handle things accordingly. But like, you know, for me, I'm to the point now, like, it's like, fuck it, right? If you want to talk about me, talk about me. I've got my circle of friends. I got people who I trust. I got people who I help. If you want to talk about it above and beyond that, talk to it to my fucking face, and do not call the cops if you want to escalate it even further, right? I'm going to help people. I'm going to do my thing. And after that, you know, like, you got to go to bed at night. If you're a coward, you got to go to bed at night knowing you're a coward, right? If you got to go to bed at night knowing you're a good person, great. But like, I just can't get wrapped up in the bullshit like has happened off and on in the past, because, you know, it consumes you. And what I need to do is consume my life with helping people, consume my life with making a better business, a better product, you know, not with negativity. And I think everyone, you know, I've talked, obviously I have pretty, you know, fairly high influential friends. Like, think about Trump Jr. How many fucking people hate that guy? You think he gives a shit? No. So, you know, I've got good advice from those guys, not to go on a tirade here, but.
Yeah. No, we're in the same boat. We try to be nice to as many people as we can. There's a few cocksuckers I like to blast, but other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, overall, right? I mean, you kind of nailed it right there. I mean, for the most part, the outdoor community is a good community. Every now and then you get a bad apple, right? You get people that like lie and cheat or whatever, fake shit or whatever. But, you know, overall, the outdoor community is pretty good. Like, never would have met you guys without, you know, the outdoor, you know, community. I've never would have met many other people. And, you know, I get thousands of super cool comments, you know, a week, a month, whatever, about, you know, thanks for helping, or I lost weight, or, you know, whatever. And so those are the things that, you know, I try to focus on rather than some fucking chucklehead, you know, for saying whatever. So it is what it is as far as that goes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I totally feel the same way. You go through it on all these things, especially when you're a public figure like you are, Aaron, and, you know, you're also the face of a business and all the other stuff you do. It's easy for people to, have jealousy or whatever. And that turns into them just being a dick for whatever reason they feel like is just to be a dick for, you know, I don't know. I think it's a jealousy thing too, is a big portion of it. So yeah. Don't read the comments, I say.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's 100%. Rogan told me that a long time ago, and that's true. But I mean, within reason, right? You also, if you're acting like an asshole, you need your buddy to tell you like, hey, dude, you're being a dumb shit. I mean, you know, there's obviously, you know, all sides of the fence to that. But, you know, like when you with, you know, some of the different things that, you know, happen in the outdoor industry. Yes, there's some things that are just flat out like, that's bad, right? Like, this person did this and he shouldn't have. He poached, he did whatever. You know, there's some things that are pretty black and white. There's other things that like Cam Haynes gets brought up a bunch, whether you agree with Cam or not, you know, whether, you know, whatever. He has motivated a fuck ton of people. Like, I'm not going to go running a marathon, right? I just don't get into that shit. I'm not going to run after my dog. I'll yell for him, right? Not my thing. But the dude's been very motivational, very positive influence for a lot of people. And that dude gets hated on like fucking crazy. Like, you know, it's weird.
Yeah. So Cam's done our podcast, and Cam actually listens to the podcast, and he messaged me and he was like, hey man, great job on the podcast. And I started talking to the guy. This is the nicest fucking guy on the planet. He's just the nicest, coolest dude ever. And he's just kicking ass and taking names. And then I started to realize that he just doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't care what anybody thinks about him whatsoever. Like 0%. And like, I always, before I ever talked to the guy, I always thought he was like a dude with a chip on his shoulder, and he was doing this stuff, you know, for show or whatever. Right. Then I talked to the guy. I'm like, this guy is just the man. Like, just the coolest guy, doesn't care what anybody thinks, and is just going to do it because that's him. I think he would do it if there was no social media. You know what I mean? And I don't know. That guy's a great example of how to handle social media. I don't think he gets into it with too many people. I think he tells a lot of people to fuck off, though.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I get along pretty good with Cam and, laugh at a lot of things. And, the reality is, right, like, I mean, him above anyone else is like, however many followers he has, and he's, he's hanging out with
all of them
pretty high profile people, is like, he's obviously made it like above it, like far beyond anyone else. So, for some, somebody to have a hate page making fun of him, it's like, well, really? Like, when you go to bed at night, whatever, and throw a Hot Pocket in your throat, he's going to bed, obviously just getting off the phone with the president or something. Like, it's like he's done pretty good. Like, it's pretty hard to argue with the fact what he's done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I saw he was running a Kafaru bag too a while ago. That was cool. Yeah.
He has a couple years. He's been running a Kafaru, and what's crazy with him is, when I say crazy, he didn't ask for any money, right? He didn't ask for shit other than a backpack, and he tried to pay for that. And I canceled it and send it to him. It's like, no, fuck no, you're not paying. But, him and Kip Folks, Rogan runs it some. I don't know if Jocko's got one. I don't know Jocko that well. I don't know if he'll run it, our packs or not or whatever. He's a good dude. But, the thing is, when you look at guys like picking big names like Trump Jr., very big name, Rogan, big name, Jocko, big name, Cam, big name, Ranella, big name. Everybody there's a ton of people that hate the fuck out of all of them. For what reason? I don't know. Right. But they do. And there's no way around it. And I mean, there's reasons for some of it. Don't get me, no one's perfect, but some of that's, you're going to have to take a big step back and say, maybe I've got some fucking psychological problems of my own. If I started an entire hate page to hate someone, like you probably, may have been held too much as a child, maybe not enough, whatever the fuck's going on. But I don't have enough time in my life to do my own shit, let alone start a fucking hate page about someone. Like I barely can fucking remember to feed my dogs. I'm certainly not going to remember to post negatively about someone else. So you got to kind of consider the source too.
I don't understand what dudes get out of that. Like the whole, like just being a dick to people on the internet. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the like, what's the plus side for them? They like, man, this guy sucks, post like then what?
I don't know. I mean, Lacey talks a lot of shit like I do. I'm not opposed to throwing in some fucking shit talking. Like, I'm not saying you should never, do that. But when your entire life goal is to focus on hammering on a few different people, that's kind of a different subject. Like, I got to keep it fairly toned down, but don't get me wrong. Somebody posts something and I'm laughing. I'm like, really? Like, come on, man. Is that what happened? Like, I packed out an entire elk, I shot it at 8 a.m. and had it to the trailhead by 5:30 and it was 7 miles in. I'm like, man, your mathematics is fucking horrible. Like that's physically impossible.
7 meters from the truck.
Yeah, exactly. Some of that stuff, obviously, it's general shit talking, but when you structure your entire life around, literally just talking shit about influential people or, behind the scenes, sending messages about shit, shit talking or whatever, you probably, when you go to bed at night, you probably have a pretty good idea that your wife knows you're a fucking coward or whatever. Like, I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah. It doesn't, the internet banter doesn't change who you are.
I mean, think about it, right? Like, how many people do you know that are talking shit about people at a high level are actually in a better position in life than the people they're talking about? None that I can think of. Right. And when you look at it also is like, how many people talking shit about other people when they stand in front of them are going to say the same thing? And not very many, so the reality is like, I don't, if I don't like Chinese food, I don't start a bash campaign in the parking lot of the Chinese food place. I just don't fucking go, right? If I don't like water, I don't start a campaign and picket the pool. I just don't go to the pool, right? Like, stay out of it. And so it's like, if I don't like a Cam Hanes, I'm not going to start a page bashing Cam Hanes. I just don't follow his page. It's like a click. Unfollow. It's super simple. and I follow Cam. I like him. But if I don't like Wasey, I'm not going to fucking start this major ad campaign against Wasey sucks. I'm going to get Wasey out of my life, and I'm going to move on.
I got to be honest.
Yeah.
I think maybe you should. I think that would maybe help me out.
Well, if I didn't like your podcast, right, or you guys didn't like mine, you just don't listen to the fucking thing, right? Like you just move on. You focus on, helping other people, focusing on your own life, making yourself a better person or your life better. But if you're spending that much time, focusing on negative stuff, obviously you got to, maybe work on that a little bit. And, for me or whatever, I got so much other shit going on. Like, fuck, man. Like I literally moving a company and starting a clothing company at the same time was not the smartest decision I've ever made, for stress. So it's like, I love my wife, try to take care of her, love my dogs, take care of them, take care of all my employees. Hope to go hunting quite a bit, do some cool podcasts, some videos when I can, and pray to God I don't have a panic attack in the middle of all that shit because I have too much stuff going on. Right? Life is fairly simple if you make it that way.
Like when you started shooting a compound this year, I had guys message me like straight up trying to shit talk you. And I'm like, who fucking cares? Aaron could shoot a fucking rocket launcher for all I give a shit. I wish he would. I don't give a fuck what he shoots. He wants to shoot a compound, fucking rock on. Like and it was all stickbow guys that were just super upset that you had left. You're not even, I wouldn't even say left, that you're shooting a compound for a year. Like who gives a shit? It doesn't bother me at all. I'm just like, Aaron's still the same guy just because he's shooting a different bow. Doesn't matter.
Well, no, it's true. Like with the stick bow thing is a good example. Like, man, I still talk highly of a stick bow, picked up a compound. And, I would get it if I understand to a certain degree, but it's like, man, like, why are you hating on me that much? Because I chose to shoot a compound. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm the same person, whatever. I just got a little bit different weapon, but it's like I called their mom a whore. It's like, good Lord, people, like, chill the fuck out. Like, can I do what I want to do?
I don't think there's a crustier group of dudes than the basement dwelling LARPing traditional archery crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, is there anyone just worse on earth? I'm not sure.
I don't. The reality is, it's like, life is short, right? There's not a lot of time here. I've got more years behind me than I got in front of me. I need to do what makes me happy, right? And if it's shooting a stick, great. If it's shooting a compound, great. If people are mad at me for me doing what makes me happy, whether that be shooting a compound, taking photography, taking photos, photography, I pick it, fly fishing. This fucking guy doesn't fly fish anymore. He's using a spinning rod. Well, I hope I don't go to fucking hell, right? Like, Jesus, is it that big of a deal? I'm fishing, right? Leave me alone. So, yeah, it was wild to me because I got a lot of hate mail over it for shooting a compound.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I clarified when I asked you. I'm like, you're not shooting a recurve anymore. I don't care. What do I care? Yeah. I'm kind of glad you're not. Now I get to watch reviews of compounds, and I'll probably eventually buy another one. There you go.
Well, it's not like I didn't. I proved my. I did my thing. I mean, I would. For all the people that said I was using a compound and successful from technology, I did fairly decent with a stick bow, and it was more difficult, and definitely every animal I shot with a stick meant more to me, but it is fun shooting compounds and messing around with the gear and things like that, shooting tournaments. So yeah, I know, you don't have to just shoot one weapon. And I guess if you're going to hell because you shoot both, I get it. Right. Like, I don't know what part of hell. I never read the book. I don't understand this rule book that different people have. I've never seen it. Right. I don't know. You can shoot carbon limbs on a recurve, but you can't shoot a carbon arrow. Right. You can shoot a carbon arrow, but you can't use a rangefinder. Right. You can wear Sitka gear, use Swarovski, right. Have a rangefinder, but you can't shoot an aluminum riser. I've never read that book or a clear version of it to actually understand what traditional archery is. Because let's face it, very few people are actually totally traditional unless you're taking a fucking horse into the field. right? Like,
Yeah.
I hope you have wood arrows and flint and steel or a Napier broadhead that, you kill the fucking turkey that you put your feathers, but I guarantee you're taking a gas engine to the fucking trailhead. So let's be realistic, right? You're not a Native American, right? You're not a fucking, this guy wearing a loincloth. So what is actually traditional? Because last time I checked, you're taking a gas engine with rubber fucking tires and a transmission to the trailhead, and you're probably wearing Sitka. If you're not and you're wearing, oh no, fuck that, I'm wearing King of the Mountain. Well, let's face it, right? That was also manufactured in the sew shop as well, right? So give people a little bit of slack with some of this stuff because it's, no one's perfect. Mm-hmm.
God forbid you run veins on a stick bow, Aaron.
Fuck, I know, especially if I invented the fucking things, right? Like, good Lord.
The sky was falling. It was amazing.
Well, the thing is I don't give a shit what you use. I mean, go hunt with a slingshot with pink underwear. But it makes you happy, right? That's the biggest thing. We don't have that much long on this earth. You gotta make it. You gotta be happy when you're doing whatever you're doing.
Wasey was a holdout on feathers. Remember Wasey? I'm like, what are you shooting feathers for? You're like, I like them.
Yeah, I held on for a long time.
They look cool. Feathers are fucking awesome looking. They're not worth a fuck in the rain and they're noisy. But like feathers are badass. Like I get a full on stiffy looking at feathers. Like I had neon like chartreuse and black feathers. Like I like that look. Dude, it made me feel like a fucking man. Like, oh yeah, I'm coming over the hill all rugged and shit with my feathers. When it rained, not so much. I didn't feel as rugged as I did. Certainly fucking louder. And I get it, right? Feathers are awesome. But the trad vein was cool because it was quieter and it did well in the rain. But I don't give a shit what people use. I'd have people come to my hunting camp when I was guiding. Man, I'm sorry, I don't use trad veins. I'm like, man, I don't give a fuck. Like, use what makes you happy. Like, I designed that to help people. I didn't design it because you're slept with your sister if you're not using them, right? It's to help people, and if you don't need them, you don't need them.
We were shooting long bows this year, man. Way out of the archery spectrum. I killed my goat with a 30 Nosler, and Wasey's shooting a 270.
Dude, I tell you what, like the 38 Nosler, that's was it a 38 or a 28 Nosler?
28.
Yeah, 28 Nosler. That's a barrel burner. That is a fucking fast round. That literally, I think, is the whatever total lifespan of a barrel. A 28 Nosler burns a barrel out faster than any other round that I know of. It's like sub 1,000 rounds, and you got to swap the barrel out on a 28 Nosler. So that is definitely a very fast longbow.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I was shooting the 30 Nosler, and they're crazy. They hit hard, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what is
so fun?
A 28 Nosler fires 180 whatever grain bullet at like 3,200 feet per second or something ridiculous. I might not be exact on that, but close.
Yeah, no, it's quick. Like my 30 Nosler is on a custom rifle with a 20-inch barrel, and on my lab radar, I think it's right at 3,000 feet per second with a 200 grain projectile on a 20-inch tube. That's moving.
Yeah, well, and it's crazy for me because I'm not a gun guy, right? I just get closer, right? But as I say that, I've got a 6.5 PRC with a folding Viking armament, HR, whatever. I've got an awesome rifle, but I'll have guys that think, they're like, hey, it's at 6, whatever. What do I dial it to? I'm like, you dial it to your feet. We got to get closer or hold over.
Yeah.
They're like, you got a ballistic turret on your scope. And I'm like, yeah, and I've never fucking used it. We got to get closer because I'm like just 400, 3 inches over its back. I try to get nothing wrong with long range shooting, right? It's just not my thing. If I can't get within 400, I probably fucked up, right? Something's wrong. But people get wrapped up in this caliber thing, 30-06, 270. There's a lot of rounds that have done, 300 WISM, pick it, right? And I'm not a gun guy. Like guys start breaking down these ballistics and whatever. And I'm like, I got a headache. You lost me. I don't give a fuck. Like, Jesus Christ. And not that it's a bad thing. It's just not my thing when you start getting into, the rifle side of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't remember who it was that I listened to a conversation that you had with somebody. I can't remember offhand, but anyways, you were like, I can't, in the conversation, you asked them something, you were in the field with them and they're like, no, it's a gun. Just hold it on or whatever. Right. Oh,
what was it about now? It was
I'm the name of who you were with escapes me. It was a guide in BC and, it was just like a random gun out of the truck and you shot something with it. And it was like a pretty far poke. And he was like, yeah, just hold it on top of him.
I think it was with Lancaster shooting that wolf, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Fuck. Yeah. I mean, so with Art Lancaster, so the grizzly I shot, the first grizzly, he wasn't there, but he left me his gun, which I didn't pay attention to. I had a recurve. And, I didn't plan on shooting it. And so this grizzly came out. I was kind of informed that the grizzly season was probably going to be closing forever or for quite some time. And that I should probably, tip one over with a rifle. That night, grizzly came in the field and fucking Bart shoots a 308. Not the greatest long distance round in the world. And he had a 1.5 to 4 loophole scope on this thing. And so I'm like, doing some like quick redneck reasoning for the drop or whatever, I'm like 7, 14, 20 divided by pi. Fuck. Yep. That's far. Right. I'm going to have to hold way over its back. I ended up killing the grizzly. I got lucky. Same rifle, where I had shot like a bobcat and a lynx, a mountain lion with my recurve. And we had jumped up some wolves that were on a kill. They had killed a cow. It's running off and I dive out of it. This is the condensed version of the story. I just dive out of the truck, take a knee, throw the crosshairs over the top of its head and just wing it, right? Hope for the best. Smoked it, right? Bart jumps out of the truck. He's like flipping out. Fuck yeah, that was fucking awesome. Whatever. He's like, where'd you hit it? And I'm like, I have no fucking clue, bro. Like canoed its head, like literally, like couldn't, like that gun and I are lucky. Pinwheel in the back of the head, canoed it, split the head in half when we got to it. And he was like, holy shit. I'm like, dude, this gun is lucky. Like I killed a grizzly at 490 or whatever the hell it was with a 1.5 to 4 loophole with this gun. And then shot a wolf at full speed on my knee offhand after diving out of a truck. Pretty freaking cool, right? With this gun. And it's a 308. So it's not exactly a long range gun, but yeah, that's the story you're referring to. That was with Bart. So
yeah. There you go. I thought maybe it might have been with Lander too or somebody, right?
I was with Lander when I shot the grizzly. Bart was with us and then he went home, but I was with Lander.
Nice. Cool. So big year coming up and, we've already had you for an hour and a half and it is hour and a half past your bedtime now.
Dude, when you guys said 9 o'clock, I was like, are you fist fucking me? Like I go to bed at 9, I get up and go to the gym at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah. Well, tomorrow will be a rough one. Sorry, bro.
I'll just skip the gym. I'm good.
Right on. Well, thanks so much for hopping on again with us. And thanks for all the help over the past couple of years here. And we're stoked to see where stuff goes for you. And we're enjoying following along with everything going on.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you guys. You guys have been awesome. Yeah, and I, whatever, like anything we can do, to help you guys, we're, more than willing. And love the podcast. You're actually one of the, I don't listen to all of them, but one of the very few. I'll Google and look and listen to some of them. So yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe and leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at Wilderness Locals. If you want to support the podcast, please check out the gear, articles, and whatever else we're up to on the website at www.wildernesslocals.net.